Hey guys, we're here for the second coffee tasting of the day. A good friend came by and had my second cup, so I could move on to the next coffee. As we're going through here again, I'm going to go ahead and taste the coffee itself. I want to go ahead and smell what the beans are like on their own. And let's see here. There we go. I want to taste what the beans are like, completely solo, so to speak. Now, this is the Ethiopian. I don't know how to pronounce this, but Yirgacheffe. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's great. All the Ethiopian coffee I've had from Third Coast has this amazing flavor profile that's a little bit different than I've had from any other country. Even the one we just had to Congo, it just doesn't have the same aroma. It's a different flavor profile. I get that deep, rich coffee notes, but there's some additional pieces. It smells, the Ethiopian coffees in particular, they smell like raisinets to me. There's this deep, chocolatey raisin, sort of dried fruit aroma to the beans. And it's not raisinets in a way that's like cheap. You know, it'd be like the highest quality dried raisins and chocolate. Still just like rich a coffee aroma. It's deep roasted beans. Doesn't smell bitter. It's not overwhelming to my nose. Like I could stick my nose in the entire bag. You know, it's not like I have to back off because it's so strong. Toasted. I said I think in the Congo one, kind of toasted rice, but it's almost like, why is it making me think of toasted nori all of a sudden? Maybe just a little bit of a mineral flavor, just a little bit of minerality that I pick up. Put this back over here, see if we still got a good view. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I really like Third Coast and the fact that they give me some basic information about where their coffees come from, where you can purchase. It's really, really interesting to be able to go in and select coffee from a certain area. Go ahead and start to develop a sense of your profile, your palate. Also, the fact that it's sustainably sourced, organic, all the things that I think modern consumers in America really want. I feel more connected to the growers, and I showed in the last video where you can pull up information on the beans that you have, the lot number, so you can find out more about, I think, the growers, producers, cooperatives that produce the stuff. It's really interesting to me to be in a position as a consumer where we have those options. You can find out more about where the stuff comes from specifically. Coffee is grown all over the world, even though it's indigenous, I think, to Africa, but it was spread to Central South America. That changeover with crops, by the way, is super, super interesting. I'm reading 1492, and they go into some detail. I've known about it because of culinary traditions. So we think of like red sauce in America as being Italian, but tomatoes are from the New World. Peppers are from the New World. That crossover is supremely, supremely interesting after 1492. Again, I'm going to pour this. I'm going to go ahead and sample the coffee black. And then I'm going to add a little bit of cream just like I did before. So let's grab this. I'm going to pour just a little bit into my cup here. And I want to make sure it's cool enough. I don't want to burn my tongue. It should be enough to give me a flavor profile. Going through the process of sampling different coffees has been really interesting. I had no idea that it was so rich. Such a difference. You know, I think of beer, alcohol, spirits, scotch, tequila. I think of those things as having their own terroir. I don't know how to terroir. The land that it came from. Javier Cano and I have conversations about this regularly. I'm always interested in something different. I want to know where it comes from. If I go to Thailand and have rice wine moonshine out of a plastic jug, I like, there's something about the authenticity of the local rice wine moonshine that I appreciate culinarily. It's a cultural thing that you don't get in Texas. Some of those lighter notes are gone from the brew. The beans are a little bit lighter, that kind of raisinette smell. And I did use my neti this morning, so my sinus passages are clear. Very smooth, dark, rich, robust. More earthy. That raisinette flavor has dampened in the brew itself. It's not as light. It's certainly not sweet. Almost a slight, like I said, minerality that made me think of that toasted nori. There's something about the Ethiopian coffees that I've had, the two from Third Coast Coffee Roasters. They just have a different flavor profile than the other coffees I've had. Of everything I've had, the 10, 20 different bags, the Ethiopian coffees stand out on their own. Again, I love that the coffee doesn't seem overly roasted. It's not like an espresso roast. It's not extremely dark. I feel like there's individuality to the beans that I've gotten from their company. Made me think of chocolate almonds. Deep, rich earth. Like good, really, really good compost. Not a smell that's bad. Very oxygenated compost. Earthy. I'll go ahead and pour the full glass, add some cream. We'll see how this goes. Overall, very wonderful, wonderful coffees from Third Coast. I recommend anything from them. I've not had anything that I was disappointed in. I just occasionally find something like this that has a very different flavor profile, something very nuanced as a taster, somebody trying to develop their palate that was really good. If I knew more about the land, Africa is a huge country. Talking about Africa is, guys, if you look at a map, Africa is gargantuan. And when we talk about the changes from north to south, due to, I think, is it longitude or latitude? Due to latitude, latitude changes from, sub-Saharan Africa, or I should say the Saharan desert, and then sub-Saharan Africa, just vast changes. When countries, this is like cultural material treaties, especially from Jared Diamond. When the climate changes and the geography changes, it changes the food and the culture. I get a little bit, just a little. It's interesting. I get a little bit more of that raisinette flavor, but there's like toasted like hazelnuts in there. It almost reminds me of when I open a can of mixed nuts, like Planters when I open there. Very smooth. I've gotten to the point where this Chemex extraction, as much as I'll make fun of, skinny jeans and hipsters, you won the battle on the Chemex. It makes just a great, great cup of coffee. And there is a component of it that reminds me of the French press where there was this pattern of how the coffee is made, this routine, this almost ritual around making the coffee, grinding the beans, smelling the beans in the bag, wondering, well, what's this part of Ethiopia like? The culture I've never steeped myself in except to have injera and gomen and a handful of dishes. Just amazing food culture. It's interesting. It's almost sweeter than the Congo, but it's got a broader range of this sweet to down to those earthy flavors. The Congo was like 75%, but it was the lower notes, if you will, the deeper end, the earthiness. This has a little bit of a sweeter component to it, something lighter, that little bit of almost like raisinets flavor I talked about. Just swirl flavor. I talk about tasting notes sometimes and reference music. It's the difference between having a single note and having a chord, 3 to 5 notes put together. The chord, there's a complexity. If in cuisine you can achieve layers of texture and flavor, Ratatouille is probably most famous example of this that I can think of. They did it really well with Patton Oswalt, displaying like a single note and then like a chord of flavors and textures. The more you can mix flavors and textures, usually the more interesting something is culinarily. Oh, dude, just nutty. That thing I talked about, planters mixed nuts, but it's almost like peanuts a little bit, just a little bit. That flavor of like fresh roasted peanuts in combination with this earthiness and sort of like almost more floral notes, that sort of thing I talked about with raisinets, chocolate, earthy. When I'm getting all of that in a cup of coffee, not only is this the stimulant that allows me not to have a headache, just an amazing brew. Really, really great coffee, guys. If you're not checking out Third Coast Coffee Roasting Company, I highly, highly recommend it. Just flavor, lots and lots of flavor. For you who live in Austin and you like cold brew, in the future, I need to go ahead and clean out my freezer. I use typically a very inexpensive coffee from, not from Third Coast. I don't use high quality beans for my cold brew, but we'll talk about that. I'll go over some of the equipment and some of the other stuff to go into a little bit more detail. And I'm still learning. I'm a novice. I haven't developed my palate. I'm looking forward to going through this tasting process to develop it more, try to develop a language for the things that I'm exploring in flavor and texture. Amazingly complex. The Congo was good. This has another 25%. Like I said, the Congo was the lower 75. Still amazing coffee. I would never complain. But this extra 25%, there's more complexity to this brew and its flavor profile. Really, really great. You guys check out Third Coast Coffee Roasters here in Austin, Texas. Really great blend. This is not my favorite from Ethiopia, but I will do that one in a future review of the ones that I've had. Again, Third Coast Coffee Roasting Company, they tend to change out the coffees that they're using. So sometimes stuff is available for a short time, they transition to something else. I just continue to explore based on what's available. I have a really great time through the pandemic tasting various coffees from them. Again, thank you to Third Coast Coffee Roasting Company for keeping me caffeinated and awake so I could develop everything I was doing in video. Really great company. You can check them out again on their website. Feel free to go to shop.thirdcoastcoffee.com to pick up whatever you want. I think they also deliver. So if you want to have it delivered to your city or state, I think that is a possibility. I'm not sure about shipping rates because I pick mine up, but really great coffee, wonderful flavor profile. This is in my top 5. Not my favorite, but I think it's definitely in my top. You guys have a great day. I really appreciate you joining in so I can go through these. Thank you so much, and I appreciate Third Coast Coffee Roasting Company for supplying me the beans. You guys have a great day and a wonderful, wonderful weekend.